What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast, brought to you by Still Fist. It is Wednesday evening, and I wanted to get on and give my thoughts on some things that I've been, seeing a lot of in the MMA media and news. That I just have a bunch of ideas, thoughts going through my head about it, a bunch of opinions about some things. And I guess it's not all MMA media. I guess it's I have some more thoughts on the Wilder Fury card or the fight, because now finally people are starting to talk about it. I was reporting on Sunday and no one was saying nothing, and but now everyone's got their opinions out, and I got more thoughts on what happened. But first and foremost, April 4th is the next Still Fist fight card. Had to check and make sure that I had that correct. And so everyone be on the lookout for all the news pertaining to that. Fights have not been announced yet, other than I've seen two fights that were announced on that card. And the only one off the top of my head, the only one I can really remember right now is Kent, because we had talked about having him on the podcast. Kent Mafilo, heavyweight, was the AMI champ, but now he's moving up to pro. So this is his pro debut. I cannot remember who he's fighting yet. My apologies to him. I only briefly saw it, so please do not be offended. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, and I'm pretty sure you don't care otherwise. But if you did care, know that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. But I wanted to talk about, so the first thing I want to talk about is something that the media hit. There's a media conference right before the Felder-Hooker fight, and it had Israel Adesanya in it, and he made a comment that really offended a lot of people, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it, and I have some thoughts on it, my opinion on it, and I want to hear from everybody, who watches this. I want to hear what their thoughts are on it, and listen to my side and what I have to say, and then see if they. I wouldn't even say I agree, because I actually don't know what my thought is on it. I just have a few thoughts, and I haven't come to a conclusion on how I feel about it yet. So the comment that was made, he was talking about his upcoming fight with Yoel Romero, and he was just saying that he's going to touch up Yoel Romero. He's going to break him down, and he's going to crumble like the Twin Towers. Maybe he said like the towers, but we assume he's talking about the Twin Towers. I don't have the exact quote, but that's what he was talking about. And immediately the crowd, it was just journalists, it was just media and maybe some fans, and they were in Auckland, and immediately the crowd was like, ooh, boo. And you literally could see it in his face. Like, he just kind of froze and just was stared straight ahead, and you could just see the wheels turning in his head like, oops. And then he goes, too soon. That was his next comment. Too soon. That's where I got more offended. I got more offended at his comment immediately after than what he actually said. And here's the reason why. And he even alluded to this in his apology, which I don't accept, because I'll get into that, why I think that, or why I don't really accept his apology. But so I understand, like, in the heat of the moment, you're just talking, and how many times the microphone's put in front of his face, and he's asked a billion questions. He's asked questions over and over again, the same questions over and over again. He's got to try to be creative. He's got to try to give him something new. He's got to give us, some sound bites. So, sometimes you're just firing off, and you're just, freestyling, and you're trying to create buzz about the fight. So not everything's planned out, not everything's polished, and this is, so I equate it to this. How many times, and this is like my biggest pet peeve, when people say this, have this type of like metaphor or whatever, it my blood boils. I get so annoyed because I'm like, you can't think of anything better to say, is when somebody's like talking about somebody who's like high energy or doing, is moving really fast, and they go, oh, he's like a monkey on crack, or he's a blah, blah, blah on crack. He's a this on crack. And like that, that pisses me off so bad. But it's just like filler. It's filler words because they can't think of anything else to say. And it's just filler. So I can see where Israel, made the was making the comparison. Here's these grand buildings that stood for something that everybody viewed as these big, powerful symbols of New York City, and they crumbled. And so he's using this as an analogy to say that it's just filler. It's like he's thinking on the fly. He's like, he's gonna crumble. He's gonna crumble like, and then immediately he just, in his mind, I can picture, him just seeing the two towers fall, and he goes, oh, the towers. I can understand that. I can understand you messing up. I can understand you making a mistake. I can wrap my mind around that. I don't agree with it. You gotta try to be smarter, but I can wrap my mind around it. What I don't like is that he knows he messed up. He can feel the crowd. He understands the crowd is not going along with what he just said. And his response is, what, too soon? Like we're supposed to just get over it. Like in the way he said, like the whole press conference is weird because he was pretending to be upset. He has really no reason to be upset. I know he's having a great time. He's at home. The UFC's there. He's getting in public. He's talking about his fight. He's pumping up his fight. He's not mad, and he's pretending like he's mad that Yoel's not there at the press conference. It's like he's going to fly 16 hours to sit down and let you do all the talking, because that's what happens in those press conferences. We saw in the last time they had one, they didn't even have an interpreter ready for him. So it's not like they even want Yoel to talk. They just want him to stand there and let Izzy do all the talking and do all the selling of the fight. So, like Yoel Romero is going to fly all the way out there to sit in a press conference for 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour at the most, and just sit there and be a prop while Izzy does all the talking. Like, that's not on his agenda. He's training for this fight. He's at home. He's getting ready for this fight. So for Izzy to even pretend like he was upset that he wasn't even there was a bit ridiculous. And then so then he's sitting there. He's got to be mad. He's got to be pissed off, and he's just feeling disrespected. And he's, everybody says that he's never fought a wrestler before, so now he's fighting the best wrestler. And he's been playing this whole thing like he's upset, like he's offended, which is a sloppy way to go about any fight. I mean, if there's not really hard feelings, just don't have hard feelings. Just say it's going to be a good fight. Like, most of us, the majority of MMA fans, are not the casuals. We're educated. We know it's going to be a good fight regardless if you're pissed off or not. I know you're trying to draw in the casual fans. You're trying to, ride the Conor bandwagon of hyping up the fight with your words, but I mean, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. People can see through fake. People can see through fake so fast, and that's his anger is fake. So that aside, he's pretending to be mad. So then he makes the comment, and instead of manning up in the moment and saying, "Yeah, I apologize, should not have said that," he doubles down and acts as if we're at fault for being upset. He's you should be over it. You should be over it by now. It was, however many years ago. Now, on the flip side, in actual comedy, people, if it's worded correctly, if it's approached correctly, if it's handled correctly, comedians can make jokes about tragic situations, and it's actually a coping mechanism for a lot of people to just like be able to laugh about things, or be able to I don't know, like be in unison with a bunch, with other people, or with, be in on the joke with other people, where you can sit there and something is said and this is a tragic thing that you've all cried over, you've all been hurt over, you've all been affected by, and now you can sit there and laugh at the situation. Like I've heard Jewish comedians make Holocaust jokes. And at first I'm like, because I'm not in that, I'm not Jewish, so I don't feel any right to be able to talk about it. And At first it's like jarring, but you can see that it's done in, if it's done right, it's done in a loving way, it's done in a caring way, it's done in a way that you can accept it. You can accept it as a joke, and still they get in trouble at times. And I've, of course, like any type of race joke, or even now, it just, I mean, jokes are kind of meant to. They are kind of meant to pull in a certain group to be like, hey, this is our thing. We can talk about it, and we're gonna laugh about it, but we're not gonna let anybody else. So you have like black comics talking about slavery, and they'll crack jokes about it, and it's kind of like, this is our thing. We're gonna laugh about it. It's okay. It's done in a loving way. Or you'll have women comics cracking jokes about men, and they've got like the women are like, we're together in this. So like so in comedy there is times that they take tragic and tragedy and they turn it into lighthearted, and they make it okay to make a joke about it. And it's it's subjective to say if it's okay or not. You know what I mean? Like it really is. Some people are just going to be offended by it no matter what. And if you are, then you are. And that's not wrong either. Like you're entitled to your feelings. You're entitled to your opinion. So, if that's just not something you're going to laugh at, then that's fine. But what's annoying is that, or what I, am troubled by, is that he wasn't cracking a joke here. It was just an off-color comment that he easily could have corrected by immediately admitting that, oh, I made a mistake. But instead, he doubled down on his angry demeanor and that it's our fault and that we just need to get over it. And, too soon? Yeah, bro, too soon. Too soon. It's not your joke. It's not your line. It's not anything. It's not for you to say. And then again, I go back trying to, not play a devil's advocate, but just kind of get into the thought process of how he can say it and be more okay with it, or be kind of, I guess, okay with what he said. And I have to go back to this thought, is that I'm offended by it because I'm an American. I live in America. I was alive during that time. I remember it clearly. I remember waking up in the morning. My dad was took me to school. He was driving me to high school. And we were going out to the car, and my step-grandmother, who lived next door, came outside and said, hey, a plane just crashed into one of the towers. And we're like, really? Whoa, that's crazy. And then she went back inside, and my dad's like, I remember there was a long time ago that someone flew like a little propeller plane into one of the buildings, and it crashed into it. And that's crazy that it's happened twice. And I was just like, oh, yeah. Didn't really think much of it, just because the way my dad explained it, that it's happened before, and we didn't really, that was it. And then I get to school, and the second plane had already hit by the time I got to school. And then it was like a big thing. And I remember we spent the whole day at school watching it in the news. And there's only one class that we didn't. It was in my English class. And my English teacher's like, listen, I know you guys have been bombarded with this all day long. I know that, you're scared. You don't know what's going to happen. And, I know that, this is going to be something that we're going to be hearing about for a long time. I'm going to give us a break from that. We're not going to watch it on TV. We're going to be doing some schoolwork, some learning, nothing too crazy, obviously, because I know a lot of you aren't in the right mindset for it, but I'm going to do my best to try to just get your mind off it for a moment. For 45 minutes of today, you don't have to think about it. Then we went to football practice, and my coach was like, no practice today. We all got suited up. We went down, we did our warm-ups. We did like a few plays because we had a game that week. And within a couple days, and he was just like, we went through a few things, like maybe a total of 20 minutes of practice, and then he was like, all right, everyone go home, be with your families. We're done for the day. Just go home, be with your families. So I remember that day, and being an American, like, it, when I heard he said that, I was just like, what a dickhead. On the flip side, he's not an American. Didn't grow up in America. Probably was not super involved when he heard of the probably can't tell you where he was at or what he did that day, or probably can't tell you in the same detail that I can. Probably was not affected in the same way that I was, or many of the journalists who were sitting in the crowd when he made the comment, who some probably are from New York and probably remember it very vividly. So, so I remember, I'm wearing a Ice Cube shirt right now, but I remember a Dr. Dre song when I was a little kid, really young. A Dr. Dre song where he says in the lyrics somewhere, "I drop bombs like Hiroshima." And I remember singing those lyrics. I know that there were, thousands, if not millions, kids across the world singing those lyrics and not really comprehending that this was a tragedy. That was a tragedy for the people of Japan. We were at war. It was a scary time for a lot of people, and there were a lot of innocent lives that were taken that day. And that, I'm sure, if you were to go to Japan and be doing a press conference, or to be around where, to be doing some sort of press conference where a large majority of your audience was from Japan, and you made a comment, something to that degree, it would have been treated the same way. But as Americans, that didn't affect us in that type of way. That was America retaliating because of Pearl Harbor. So we felt like justified, like we'd done it. But, the cultural significance is drastically different between the two sides. And one of them, it was a tragedy. The other one, was seen as a victory by a lot of people. So then now you take a middle ground. You take someone from Auckland, New Zealand, who wasn't a part of the tragedy on either side, was spectating it from a distance, and it doesn't hit him the same way that it hits us. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm upset. And then, I said I'll talk about the apology. The apology was 100%. He went back and his publicist said, "You need to apologize for this. This is not going to go over well. That the people are pissed off." And so then he was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make any fun of anybody. I never would," and blah, 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 blah. And I just, that's a publicist PR move. And I feel like he should have said something in the moment. He realized he messed up. You see it on his face. That he comments on it like, "Oh, too soon." So I don't accept the apology just because it's not real. He's not really sorry. He was told to say he was sorry. But also I see he's also probably not sorry because it doesn't affect him the same way that it affected us. And so, I don't know where I land with it. I as far as Izzy on the mic, I've never been a huge fan. I just think that he's phony, and he claims himself as an internet kid and he's the king of trash talk, and I've never bought into his trash talk. I've never thought that it was clever. I've never thought that it was really that great. And so, but he's a fighter. He's not a trash talker. He shouldn't be trying to do that. They shouldn't be putting that on him to sit there and sell the fight. The UFC needs the organization needs to do what they've did before, and they need to sell the fight. Don't put it in the fighter's hands for him to say something stupid like that. Don't put it all on his shoulders to sell himself, because he's going to say stupid stuff, because he's bright, but he can't do it all. He can't be the best trash talker in the world and the best, lightweight in the world. So, yeah, I don't know where I land on that whole thing. I'm curious about your thoughts. I'm curious about what you think, and how you feel about it and your thoughts on it. I don't like it. I don't like what he said. But to completely turn on him and whatever, I have to look at it as where he's at and what the context of the whole thing. And I don't know where I land on it. The other thing, obviously, I want to talk about I talked about the Fury and Wilder fight, and so I'm kind of torn on this because I'm seeing a lot now, and I found out what happened in the fight, and basically it sounds like Fury proved that he is the greatest boxer, the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. That he ended the era of Klitschko, and now he's continuing to go on this terror and just dominate heavyweights around the world. And what I think is funny is because I'm not into boxing, I wouldn't even say I'm like a fair weather fan. Like I didn't watch this fight. I didn't sit down watch this fight. I talked about some because it was talked about a lot in the combat sports area. So, all these pundits are coming out now, analysts are coming out now, and they're all on their high horse. I've been telling you for years that Wilder's not a boxer, that he just has one punch, and I've been saying this for years. And slow your roll. Slow your roll. Chill out. We all know you've been saying that. Everybody knows that. But the problem is the dude had 40-something wins with 40-something knockouts. So all that bullshit you're trying to talk now that he's not that good, that's out the window, because you don't get 40 knockouts if you're just the world's most awful boxer. He doesn't have the technical skill that Fury has. Hands down, no questions asked. He's not on the same level. But to put him all the way at the end of the line of heavyweight boxers is crazy. To totally discredit everything that he's done up until this point, and to act like you had the inside track on him not being that good, and that Fury was going to win this fight the whole time, is crazy. I don't know if I'm going to say 90%. I always exaggerate my numbers, but I guarantee the majority had Wilder winning this fight, and me, a fair weather fan, knew that he did not have the boxing pedigree that Fury did, or that Fury does. So, chill out on that. And they're acting like Fury had the greatest game plan of all time to walk forward on him and to, go at him and to attack him. Man, if you're going to tell me that in his 40-something fights, there wasn't another boxer who thought, I'm going to walk forward on him, and I'm going to smother his punches, and I'm going to try to be heavy on him, and I'm going to try. If you're trying to tell me that in 40-something fights there wasn't another heavyweight who thought they were going to have that game plan against him, you, sir, are an idiot. Okay? That's not how this works. Anybody who watches game tape, anybody who watches fights, breaks down fights, can tell you that there was somebody who tried that. Now, were they successful? Absolutely not. He had 40 knockouts. Somebody tried to walk forward on him. Somebody ate a right hand, and somebody went to sleep. This was not some genius game plan that came out of nowhere that he saw that no one else saw. Just weeks prior, the John Jones Dominic Reyes fight. John Jones, one of the best fighters, or arguably the greatest of all time. What's he good at? Keeping you at range, picking you apart, throwing his kicks, keeping you at a distance, that's what he's the best at. And what did I on my podcast say was Dominic Reyes' best chance? To go at him, attack him, to take away his range, to pressure him. And what did he do? That exact thing. He went at him, he pressured him, he attacked him. I, not his coach, a fan that watches from a distance, was able to say this is his best opportunity to fight John Jones. This is his best chance to beat John Jones. You're trying to tell me in the world of boxing there wasn't someone else, another coach that had a fighter that said walk forward on him? Now, is that the game plan? Did they execute it? Those are different things. Probably was a game plan. Probably someone tried to execute it, caught, ate 2 or 3 punches on the way in and said, nah, I'm not going to do this anymore. What happens is, and they think that, we've got the blueprint to beat him now. First of all, dude's a champion, or he was a champion. If you don't think that he's going to get back to the drawing board and figure out how to fix this, again, you don't understand athletes. You don't understand how champion mindsets work. Of course, he's going to go and he's going to try to fix that. And he's going to try to change that. Because now he knows that everybody's going to try to do it. But the thing is everybody else is not Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is the best of all time. Tyson Fury was able to do that. Tyson Fury fought 12 rounds with him prior, ate the big punches. He knew he could take a lot of the damage that Wilder has to offer. So he knew that he could close the distance, eat the punches, eat some of the punches, and still stay standing, and that he would be able to get his offense off. Now, him changing to a new camp, awesome, beautiful. That was the right thing he had to do. The way he approached it, beautiful, awesome. He did it right. But he is who he is. He is the greatest of all time because he's the greatest of all time. He's the total package. He can fight you from a distance. He can bob and weave. He can shuck and jive. He can hit you with jabs. He can play that game. He can go 12 rounds. He can do that. But now we know he can also attack. He can also come at you. He can also finish you. So to bottle this all up, like to put Wilder all the way back and say, well, he was garbage the whole time, or to even say that, like you had this inside track, bro, we all knew it. We all knew it. And even the guys that he fought knew it. Nobody was telling us anything new. We already knew this. Me, someone who doesn't even watch boxing, knew it. I've known it for years. But I also knew that he was knocking fools out left and right. Every time he got in the ring, he had the touch of death and was putting people to sleep. And if you're trying to tell me that everybody stood at range and no one tried to close the distance and no one tried to pressure him and no one tried to do that, I'm gonna say you don't know what you're talking about. I just think no one else is successful at it. No one else is as good as Tyson Fury. No one else could execute the plan the way he did, either out of fear or doesn't have the technical prowess to be able to do it, or numerous other reasons. But Tyson Fury was able to do it because he's Tyson Fury. So before you go shitting on Deontay Wilder, just check yourself a little bit, okay? Dude's still good. Dude still has 40 knockouts. Dude still puts you into orbit. So that's all I have to say about that. And then I'm going to talk briefly, the thing that pisses me off is this week, again, we got fights. We got UFC fights again this week. And again, nobody's talking about it. Nobody wants to chat about it. And that is very disappointing because it's a okay card. But here's the thing is, whether it's a good card or not, it really means nothing. The UFC has put, the UFC has felt like this is a card that they want to put together, so they need to show it the respect. The promoter needs to show it the respect and have the pundits talking about it. But instead, I'm hearing about Tony and Khabib. Yes, I'm excited about that fight, but am I also excited about Figueroa and Benavidez? That's gonna be a good fight. If you don't think that's gonna be a good fight, you're not a fight fan. That's a fun fight. Two, teeny guys, fast as hell, both really good on the ground, both really good striking. One's got superpower, the other guy's gonna come in flurries. Like, that's a fun fight. Why is this not sellable? Why is no one talking about this? Check this fight out. I'm guessing it's free. Yeah, look. I'm guessing it's free. Yeah, it's free. It's got to be free because no one's talking about it. They try to sell pay-per-views, but they don't give a shit about free cards. So yeah, it's gonna be a good card. So I'm excited to see a few people. Let's see. So you got Benavidez and Figueroa. That's going to be a fun fight. You got Felicia Spencer versus Sarah Farron. Now, I'm going to give you... Okay, so I said last time I was FanDuels where I was doing my betting. No, it's DraftKings. That's where I do my little bit of gambling that I got to do, feed the addiction, feed the beast, put a little bit of money in, hopefully get a lot of money back. You know how it is. So I go out on DraftKings. I'm going to tell you, put your money on Felicia Spencer. Felicia Spencer beat Megan Anderson. And and pretty impressive win over Megan Anderson. Kind of exposed Megan's ground game because we all knew how good of a striker she was. And Felicia Spencer went in and beat her. And this Sarah Farron girl, she fought Megan Anderson after Megan Anderson lost to Felicia Spencer, and Zara lost to Megan Anderson in a first round submission. So my guess is this Zara Farron doesn't have the greatest ground game because Felicia Spencer doesn't have the greatest. Because Megan Anderson doesn't have the greatest ground game, and Felicia Spencer's ground game's pretty awesome. So I'm going to tell you, if you want to bet your money, if you're going to bet your money, you should bet it on that young lady, Felicia Spencer. And then Megan Anderson is also fighting on this card. She's fighting a woman named Norma Dumont. Norma's 4-0. Let's see Norma's who she's fought. Okay, UFC has no one, so this is her UFC debut. I'd say with she's 4-0, doesn't have as many fights as Megan. Doesn't have as many fights with her as her. Megan's 9-4, but she was looking real good until she lost to Felicia Spencer. But obviously she cleaned up her ground game because she turned around in the next fight and won by a submission. So I'll tell you, probably put your money on Megan Anderson. So Felicia Spencer, put your money on her, and also put your money on Norma Dumont. Whoa! Put your money on Felicia Spencer. Put your money on Megan Anderson. That's gonna be my what I call my safe bets. Ion Kutalaba versus Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed is 11-1. Ion is 14-4. Now Ion, he's the dude that fought Khalil Roundtree, that came in and was like in the way, and like screaming in his face, and Khalil Roundtree like is just like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then Khalil went out and put on an absolute Muay Thai clinic and took it to him, kind of beat him down. So I think this Ion guy, he's exciting to watch. Most of his wins are from TKO, and Magomed, most of his wins come by decision. That's a tough one. Because Ion has the power to put people out and has done it on 14, has done it quite a few times. 79% knockout rating. Has done it quite a few times in his 14 wins. Magomed. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm going to say Magomed just because he's from Russia, and these European countries and China seem to be taking over the UFC. The Dagestani crew that's coming over and destroying everybody. Russia's doing pretty good. China's doing amazing. So I'm going to put my money on that. Kutalaba, I don't think you're going to do it. Grant Dawson, Derek Minor, don't even know who those two are. And that's your main card. So, I won't give you all your bets, but I'm going to tell you in the main of it, with the main card, I think Joseph Benavidez gets it done. Yeah. I like Figueroa a lot. That may be a game time decision. I may make that call on the fly. But I'm going to say Felicia Spencer. I'm going to say Magomed. I'm going to say Megan Anderson. Grant Dawson. Derek Minor. One guy's making his debut. The other guy's 14-1. Grant Dawson's 14-1, so I'm going to put my money on Grant Dawson. 71% submission in 14 fights with one loss. Yeah, I'm going to put my money on him. The other guy looks like he's probably a boxer. maybe a wrestler. So I'm going to put my money on the guy who's got more subs. So that's my pick for the main card. UFC, what card is this? UFC Fight Night. So it doesn't have a number. UFC Fight Night, Benavidez versus Figueroa, Saturday night, February 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern at the Cartway Arena, Norfolk, United States, wherever that is. Good luck, everybody. All right, everyone. It's long enough. Let me know your opinion. Let me know what you think. Get back to me. I'm curious to know what you all think about my opinions on this. But again, this is just my opinion. I'm not a professional. I don't claim to be one. Just a guy who likes to talk on a microphone. So until next time, you know where to find us on iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Again, these individual episodes are only found on YouTube. You can find Still Fist on Instagram at Still Fist Fight, and you can find us on Facebook at Still Fist Fight Night. And April 4th is our next card. I'm excited to see the fights that they got put together for that. See what's coming in. I know a lot of fighters are like, oh, I got a fight coming up. So if all the fighters that are that are saying that are on this card it's going to be a good card, because I have a lot of these fighters that I love, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut about who's been saying it, because I don't know if they're talking about this card or not. So we'll find out soon. I'm sure the fight card will be posted soon. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. And until next time, be good to yourself, be good to each other. I love you.